the day you arrived in Highgarden, I've thought of you more as a friend than as my handmaiden. A dear friend, in fact.
Thank you, my lady.
And you know how I feel about what's happened to your family. I feel your pain as if it were my own. What you've suffered is beyond imagining. And your poor family as well.
You're very kind, my lady.
Of course, Mira, but you must not despair. We will get through this together. You must understand there are limits to what I can say, especially here in King's Landing, now that I am to be queen. To have a handmaiden from the north whose family fought for Robb Stark. It raises questions at a time I can least afford. Cersei herself cornered me this morning outside the Royal Sept. She mentioned the northern girl in my service, and she painted you a traitor. She was very pleased with herself. Her face was full of mirth as she said it.
How did you respond?
I told her you are one of my most trusted handmaidens, that you can hardly be blamed for the actions of your father and brother. Nonetheless, she demands an audience. She wants an apology of some sort, for what I don't know, but she's waiting for us now, and I promised I would bring you to her. I wouldn't ask this of you if it were not important. I cannot afford any conflict with Cersei with the wedding so near.
I cannot apologize, my lady. I'm not a traitor.
I know you're not, but you must find a way to appease her. Humor her. Tell her what she wants to hear.
Ja, hallo liebe Leute und herzlich willkommen zu Game of Thrones. Hier wird so viel gebabbelt, dass ich gar nicht die Ansage hier machen kann. Ja, ich wollte Marjorie eigentlich gerade nicht verärgern. Ich glaube, verärgert habe ich sie auch nicht. Wir müssen auf jeden Fall aufpassen, was wir hier wem sagen.
I know you will. You may feel one thing, but you must say another.
Hier, die ist mir zum Beispiel ein bisschen komisch.
Good luck.
Ja, du guckst mir ein bisschen komisch, als wärst du nicht ganz echt. Nicht ganz ehrlich, so wie sie hier eben auch hinter uns hergelaufen ist und uns begutachtet hat, da wollte ich auch nichts über zu Hause erzählen. Denn sie hätte das vielleicht mitbekommen und an Cersei weitergeleitet. Und jeder, der die Serie kennt, weiß, dass Cersei keine von den Guten ist. Und Marjorie hingegen schon eher eine von den Guten ist. Sie hat ihre Eigenheiten, aber sie ist doch eher gut. Also ich mag sie sehr, ist eine meiner Lieblingscharaktere in Game of Thrones. Und mein absoluter Lieblingscharakter, wie der von vielen anderen auch, der steht da hinten. Beziehungsweise er sitzt jetzt inzwischen. Tyrion Lannister. Mein absoluter Lieblingscharakter.
Ah, Lady Marjorie. Aren't you looking lovely this evening?
Lord Tyrion. Your Grace? With your permission, allow me to introduce Lady Mira of Hauses Forrester.
Your Grace.
The girl knows her courtesies. Impressive. You may rise.
Ja, die Königin hat ein bisschen einen an der Waffel, denn Cersei ist hier im Moment die amtierende Königin. Spielt übrigens in der 3. Staffel, parallel zur 3. Staffel der Serie.
Is your family loyal to the king?
Perhaps you should ask the new Lord Forrester.
He's not here, is he? She is. The girl can speak for her house.
Joffrey is the one true king, Your Grace.
And yet, for centuries the Forresters have been loyal bannermen to House Stark. A house of traitors.
Yes, Your Grace. They are traitors.
The Starks were your liege lord, yet you name them traitors so easily. I take it this is the kind of loyalty the king can expect from you, if you have any loyalty at all. Is your house willing to swear fealty to your new liege lord, Roose Bolton?
He is the Warden of the North, Your Grace.
He is, and I the Queen Regent and Tyrion the Master of Coin.
The girl has a remarkable talent for answering questions while in fact saying nothing at all.
Ja.
Old allegiances are not easily abandoned. But now that the war is over, we must look to rebuild and forge new alliances. There are ships and shields to be built, and Joffrey will need a steady supply of ironwood for his armies. I'm told there are others who would happily serve that purpose, but I trust we can rely on House Forrester.
Forrester Ironwood does seem rather unique.
Yes, Your Grace.
It would be a shame to see it fall into the hands of another house. I imagine you'd do almost anything to prevent that from happening, wouldn't you? Ask any Lannister, and they'd do whatever was necessary to save Casterly Rock. It would be unfortunate to see another house lay claim to what's yours.
There are limits, Your Grace.
Perhaps, but not if your house faces potential ruin.
What would you have the girl do, Cersei? It's not as if she fought beside the Starks, wielding a battle axe for the Northern Army.
It raises an interesting question, I suppose. Can we truly blame those who end up on the wrong side of the war? Our dear Marjorie here was betrothed to Renly Baratheon on the false assumption that he would one day rule the Seven Kingdoms. Can we fault her for her mistake? Should she be held accountable?
I'm sure she regrets it.
Perhaps. Perhaps not.
If there's a point to this, I hope
Teilweise
you
das
find it
Gefühl, man
quickly.
kann keine richtige Antwort geben.
Loyalty can be such a hard thing to define. This city alone is filled with all sorts of ambitious opportunists looking to reinvent themselves, pretending to be something they're not. Who knows what lurks within their hearts? You are a girl from the north, here in service to Lady Marjorie. One can only assume her interests are yours. Yet loyalty to a king, that must be absolute, beyond question. And if your loyalties were to become conflicted between your king and the very person whom you serve, what would you do then?
I'm sure she
Let the
would...
girl answer the question. Go on.
My loyalties would never conflict, Your Grace.
That's a coward's answer. I will not have my time wasted by a northern girl who thinks she can play games. Who do you choose?
The king, of course.
Well said. I was beginning to worry you didn't have your priorities straight.
She is a threat to the crown, isn't she? The most dangerous handmaiden in all of King's Landing.
Ist so.
My sense is this girl will say almost anything to get what she wants. Which is not very encouraging. I'd like a word with you, if I may.
Of course, Your Grace.
Ja, ich hoffe, dass Marjorie uns das nicht übel genommen hat, aber sie hatte ja selbst gesagt, wir sollen der Königin ein bisschen in den Arsch kriechen. Ich kann doch vor der Königin nicht sagen, ja, meine erste Wahl ist meine Herrin hier, scheiß auf den König. Der König geht nur mal vor,
This
oder?
may come as a
Selbst wenn es
surprise,
gelogen ist.
But I met your father once, at the tourney at Lannisport. Even then he didn't trust Roose Bolton. We only spoke briefly, but your father struck me as an honorable man. You have my condolences for his loss. These would be trying times for your family, even under the best of circumstances.
Thank you, Lord Tyrion. That's very kind of you to say.
That certainly took courage. To so publicly declare your loyalty to Joffrey for all to hear. Poor Lady Marjorie was humiliated, although Cersei seemed quite pleased. It was quite the first impression. I, of course, found it all highly entertaining.
I did it for Lady Marjorie.
Rather odd, if that's what she asked of you. But I'm sure she has your best interests at heart. My sister and I have our differences. She takes great pleasure in her little charades. I take mine in thwarting them. We must find our amusements where we can. She threatened to give your ironwood to another house. It is the Master of Coin who decides such matters. The Crown needs boats. Boats need wood, and I speak for the Crown in this regard, not her.
You can help my family.
I suppose the Crown could be persuaded to secure ironwood from House Forrester. Lady Marjorie might not look favorably on such an alliance. And it would infuriate Cersei. Although what would be amusing for me might prove rather dangerous for you and your house. Are you willing to risk that? It may be far too dangerous. In fact, forget I even suggested such a thing.
It's a risk I'm willing to take, Lord Tyrion. Please.
You are a brave girl, aren't you? I'll consider it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I promised Sansa I would join her for dinner tonight. 3 beautiful bottles of Dornish wine await my arrival. The mere thought of them makes me thirsty already.
I hope we meet again.
Nothing would make Cersei happier. Until then, be careful. This is not the North. King's Landing can be a nest of vipers to the uninitiated.
Ja, es gibt nicht viele Leute, denen man hier vertrauen kann. Auch Tyrion. Mit ihm ist vorsichtig umzugehen, aber da er seine Schwester wirklich hasst, eigentlich gibt es fast nichts, was er mehr hasst als seine Schwester, glaube ich, dass wir ihm zumindest was das angeht vertrauen können.
Mira, I was worried. How was it?
Ja, du bist mir ein bisschen komisch.
Cersei has a way of looking at you as though you're nothing.
Ich möchte nicht darüber sprechen mit dir, du bist komisch.
I'd rather not discuss it, if you don't mind.
Of course not. It must have been horrible. But at least it's over now. Lady Marjorie has spent the entire day working on seating arrangements for the wedding. Of course, you and I are seated way at the back, here with the 4th cousins and the 9th-born sons. Ah, Sir Jaime. I wouldn't mind tarnishing that white cloak of his.
Sarah!
What? It's true. And Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper. I'm told he has a paramour, which I doubt is Dornish for wife. We're just having some fun. Perhaps Lady Marjorie could make the right introductions. Who knows? We might meet our future husbands. Although, marrying a king, I can only imagine what that would be like. Would you marry Joffrey if it meant you'd become queen? He does have a certain look about him, and he's always treated Lady Marjorie well.
I don't want to be queen, no matter who I'd have to marry.
Don't want to be queen? You Northerners. You'd make a perfect scepter. Well, I would marry him. Imagine the power you would have as Queen of the 7 Kingdoms. I might even allow you to be my handmaiden. Let's see, who else should we marry off? Brienne of Tarth and Tyrion Lannister. What a perfect match! Sir Bronn and...
What are you doing? Well? Sarah?
We're sorry, my lady. We were just having fun.
This is not a game. It's a battle plan. Allies and enemies can be made with every move. Yet they say it is men who are powerful. The Queen was pleased by your display, Mira. I'm just glad it's over. King's Landing can be exhausting sometimes. There's always someone to please or some perceived slight to smooth over. I fear it will only get worse when I am queen. Once they know your true heart, the lords and ladies will have no choice but to love you. Do you agree?
Puh.
It doesn't matter what you feel. It only matters.
Teilweise ist die Antwort schon echt
You
schwierig.
learn very quickly. Your words to Cersei were brave, but I know you must fear what the Boltons might do to your family. I do appreciate your willingness to appease her, as difficult as it may have been.
Thank you, my lady. There's been something on my mind. Something important.
Ja, da ist immer noch die komische, die zuhört.
I did have a favor to ask of you in return.
Guck nicht so, geh raus.
Whatever you wish to say, you can say it in front of Sam. There are no secrets between us.
It's about my family.
I trust her.
Ich will eigentlich nicht, dass sie zuhört.
I prefer to speak with you alone.
Ich vertraue ihr nicht. Sie guckt immer so komisch. Es ist mir scheißegal, ob sie sich dran erinnert.
Go on. Ask.
Forgive me, my lady. I wouldn't otherwise ask this of you, but my mother insisted. It's about my family.
Ramsay Snow. What would you have me do?
My mother fears our family will suffer if Ramsay is left to do as he likes. She thought, if a raven could be sent to the Boltons to let them know House Forrester has the protection of the crown. I know it's a lot to ask of you, and I wouldn't otherwise, but she insisted.
That is no small request, especially now.
I know, my lady, and I wouldn't ask this of you otherwise, but my mother has left me no choice. She insisted.
Joffrey knows only too well your family fought for the Starks, and now you would have me ask him to intervene. Is the situation that dire? Joffrey will not look favorably on such a request.
It is that dire, my lady. I fear for my family's safety.
I don't know, Mira.
Ich glaube auch, dass es ziemlich übel aussieht für die Familie.
Don't let the Queen bully you. You have power over him, Lady Marjorie, as no one else does. Not even his mother. Ramsay Snow will arrive at Ironrath within the week. I would never ask this of you if it weren't so urgent.
Very well. I'll make your request, but I cannot promise anything.
Thank you, my lady. I will send a raven to my family at once.
Ja, ich glaube, es ist wichtig, dass wir den Schutz der Krone haben dort unten. Denn Ramsay ist ein richtig kranker Typ. Selbst wenn man den Schutz der Krone hat, glaube ich, ist es nicht komplett safe. Und ohne den Schutz ist... Ja, das ist ein Spiel mit dem Feuer. Königsweg, Wolfswald. Wir spielen wieder den Knappen, dessen Namen ich vergessen habe.
Seven Hells.
Sind da die Boltons oder was?
Let's play a little game, shall we? Did you know my ancestors wore the skins of their enemies as a coat?
Oha. Tja, liebe Leute, ich werde ja einen kleinen Cut machen. In der nächsten Episode erfahrt ihr dann, wie es weitergeht, ob Ramsay Schnee die Haut entfernt und ihn häutet, den guten Mann, den die da gefangen genommen haben und gefoltert haben. Das sind auf jeden Fall die Boltons, die wir da entdeckt haben. Die Gruppe, die zu der feste Eisenrad oder Iron Wrath oder wie auch immer unterwegs ist. Ja, wie es weitergeht, erfahrt ihr in der nächsten Episode. Also schaltet wieder ein. Bis dann. Ciao, ciao. Euer Silent.